Hey everyone, welcome. Hope you're all doing well, whether you're longtime followers or just joining us for the first time. We really appreciate your likes and subscriptions here on the Gulf Gambit channel. Let's talk about the Strait of Hormuz, a narrow passage that sees about 20% of the world's oil flow through it. Every ship that passes through is worth millions, and every mile sailed could be its last. Over the weekend, two massive Chinese oil tankers suddenly changed course to avoid this crucial route. The Queen Sam, flying the Liberian flag and leased by the Chinese state-owned oil giant Sinopec, made a sharp 180-degree turn on Sunday, veering south away from the Gulf. Meanwhile, another ship, the Surl Aladsar, came to a complete stop in open waters. Why? Just days earlier, U.S. forces carried out airstrikes on Iranian targets, and Tehran promised a proportional response. This isn't just about disputed borders, it's about 20 million barrels of oil moving daily through a 33-kilometer bottleneck. It's not just oil at stake here. Hormuz is the heart of global energy for half the world, and things are getting tense fast. You're about to get an inside look at this unfolding crisis. In an unusual move, Sinopec announced it would halt navigation through the Strait of Hormuz, following Iran's decision to block international maritime traffic earlier that same day. In a statement, Sinopec said that the incident disrupted shipping in the Gulf, leading to a complete standstill in international navigation. Over and over, traffic has come to a halt. If Iran responds militarily to U.S. strikes, the entire global energy system could be shaken. And this isn't a far-fetched scenario, it's happened before. The same conditions are reappearing, and we could soon see a partial or even complete shutdown of this vital artery. Let's not forget 1988, when the U.S. Navy attacked Iran in Operation Praying Mantis, a real turning point. Since then, Iran has spent billions building an asymmetric naval force designed to act swiftly and with precision. Today, Iran deploys hundreds of fast missile boats, sea mines, mini-submarines, and precision suicide drones. Bandar Abbas, the main base of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard's fleet, is now one of the most heavily monitored locations on Earth. There, mobile rocket launchers, radar systems, and tactical units provide real-time coverage of the entire strait. Just the threat of Iranian retaliation is enough to send oil prices soaring. In fact, after the U.S.'s latest move, Brent crude shot up over 4% to $87 a barrel, while WTI jumped by $3. That's not market speculation, that's fear in action. Iran has repeatedly said at international forums that it has never unilaterally shut down the strait, but it's also made clear that if its territory or sovereignty is threatened, it will use every tool at its disposal. Back in 2019, after the assassination of General Qasem Soleimani, the U.S. deployed aircraft carriers and missile defenses to the region. Iran hit back with a precise ballistic missile strike on bases in Iraq. Meanwhile, China, the biggest importer of Gulf oil, has raised its alert level. With over 44% of its oil coming through this route, Beijing isn't rerouting ships just for fun. It's a strategic decision to protect its energy supply and diplomatic standing during a tense moment. Insurance companies have raised their premiums for ships passing through the Gulf, adjusted their coverage levels, and some ships are now required to have armed escorts in certain zones. It's starting to feel like the return of convoy-style protection, and honestly, that might be the only thing keeping the Strait of Hormuz economically functional right now. And it's not just about oil. The strait is also the main export route for Qatari liquefied natural gas, and Qatar is the biggest LNG producer in the world. Nearly a quarter of the world's LNG passes through here too. Even a partial disruption could wreak havoc on energy markets in Europe and Asia. Meanwhile, the U.S. is doubling down on its strategy of provocation. The Pentagon confirmed it has deployed new warships and MQ-9 Reaper drones to the region. Washington has sent frigates to its Fifth Fleet in Bahrain, and drones are patrolling around the clock. It's all part of a strategy: intimidation, surveillance, and retaliation. At the same time, Iranian and regional media are releasing satellite and thermal images showing a massive U.S. military presence near Abu Musa and the Tunb Islands, strategic locations under Iranian control. Any violation of their sovereignty, Iran says, would be considered an act of war. And this isn't just talk. Remember back in July 2019, Iran seized the British tanker Stena Impero, accusing it of violating maritime laws, and held it for over 2 months. That same year, Iran shot down a U.S. Global Hawk surveillance drone with a surface-to-air missile, claiming it entered Iranian airspace. Despite sanctions, Iranian oil officials say the country is still managing to export over 2 million barrels a day, mostly through alternative routes to Asia. And yes, many of those shipments still go through Hormuz. OPEC's Secretary General, Haitham al-Ghais, voiced his concern about the militarization of the strait, saying energy shouldn't be used as a pawn in geopolitical games. Just 48 hours ago, he indirectly addressed the U.S., echoing the fears of both producers and consumers. For emerging economies, this isn't just a hypothetical scenario, it's a deadly serious one. A $10 to $15 spike in oil prices per barrel could mean runaway inflation, currency crashes, industrial paralysis, even blackouts and recessions in poorer, fuel-importing nations. And yet the U.S. keeps playing with fire in one of the world's most sensitive regions. While Washington claims its strikes are surgical and defensive, history tells a different story. From the 1953 coup against Prime Minister Mossadegh, planned by the CIA and British intelligence to protect oil interests, to today's sanctions, Iran's sovereignty has been violated time and time again. But Iran is not isolated anymore. It has strong ties with Russia and China, and now a growing regional bloc pushing back against U.S. dominance. A recent tripartite energy and logistics deal between Iran, Russia, and Qatar shows how these alliances are forming a serious counterweight to Western influence. In this context, every stalled ship, every radar ping, every drone shot down could ignite something far bigger. Hormuz isn't just a thin blue line on a map, it's now a pressure gauge for global stability. When the U.S. targets it, the entire energy balance of the world hangs in the balance. So, what's the bottom line? Just one wrong move at this flashpoint could set off a global energy meltdown. We really want to hear from you. What do you think? Could a single missile or a seized ship be enough to plunge the world into a new crisis? Drop your thoughts in the comments, alright? Let's recap for a second. The Strait of Hormuz, which is only 33 kilometers wide at its narrowest point, moves 20 million barrels of oil a day. That's about 20% of global oil and a quarter of global LNG. U.S. airstrikes on Iran's nuclear infrastructure, Iran's threats of proportional retaliation, ships like Queen Sam and Surle al-Adsur suddenly rerouting or halting mid-journey. These aren't just threats. These are real actions with immediate consequences. We've already seen a 32% drop in oil tanker movement, a 27% drop in scheduled oil loadings in just 1 week, a spike in insurance rates, the reappearance of military convoys, MQ-9 Reapers flying surveillance, and a buildup of mobile missile launchers and drones in Bandar Abbas. Iran's asymmetric doctrine, fast attack boats, naval mines, mini-subs, mobile launchers, is designed to defend the strait with real firepower. And China, with over 44% of its energy imports coming through the Gulf, it's quietly staying out of the fray, rerouting around potential flashpoints, a signal of just how serious this moment is. So, who's winning right now? Iran and its regional allies who really know how to turn geography into geopolitical capital. Moscow, Beijing, and Doha are strengthening ties through joint energy and logistics deals. Meanwhile, the losers are global markets and vulnerable economies, especially energy-importing countries who just can't afford oil at over $100 per barrel. If prices spike even $10 to $15 more, you should expect energy bills to soar, supply chains to tighten, and more military posturing, all driven by a market that's now completely fear-based. In the long run, watch for rising anti-Western alliances, shifts in trade routes, and maybe even alternatives to Hormuz altogether. Independent experts from Reuters and Bloomberg are already warning this standoff may be slowly pushing the world toward a supply crisis, or even a new era of regional confrontation. This isn't just another headline. It's a potential turning point. Strategic choke points like Hormuz have evolved from trade routes into geopolitical flashpoints. The risk of a missile strike, a seized ship, or a miscalculation triggering full-blown conflict is no longer theoretical. It's dangerously real. So the question now is, can diplomacy calm things down? Or are we headed into uncharted waters? Will a single strike or standoff over Hormuz collapse the global energy market, Could this spark a new balance of power in the Middle East? Let us know what you think. Hit like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And don't miss our next video on the shifting alliances between Beijing and Riyadh. It might completely change the way you see global energy politics. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned to S News, and as always, your support helps us bring